But this last mile going outbound will eventually turn into a bit of a forest walk along the railway. Right now though, I've got to navigate a bunch of broom and hope that the ticks are gone and dead. Let's go for a low camera. This is about even with my stomach. Gives you an idea of the broom. Yeah, good time to mention once again that I hate the broom. There's nothing nice about it. Well, maybe the yellow flowers, but that's just a temporary illusion. If you've had a tick bite, and the tick has come from broom, and if you found other ticks on yourself over the years of doing hikes, then you'll know that the broom is brutal. Especially when it's up to your neck in height. Here is where we are, Vancouver Island on the west coast of British Columbia, Canada. The red mark is the area near the City of Port Alberni. Now I'm on the Port Alberni subdivision of the former Esquimalt and Nanaimo Railway, and the red mark shows my hike location on the west side of the Port Alberni summit. Trains last ran here in early 2002, so that's over 23 and a half years ago. My overall hike for this series of videos went from Loon Lake Forest Service Road at milepost 22.2 to milepost 26 above the Cherry Creek rural area. This episode 5 starts at milepost 25.1 and goes to my turnaround at milepost 26. Foggy forest walk. Yeah, I love this. I am so grateful for the fog this morning. Feels great. It looks eerie. This is what I was hoping for. Hey, and I'm still dodging the broom. For me, it's hard to imagine this section clear of overgrowth with clear sight lines and trains running on it because, well, hey, I've never seen it here. First time I came by this area was in spring 2020. Hey, this is a little bit of a tree fall, and sometimes it's caused by snow, pushes it down. Easy to get by. The only hazard is the needles are covered with water. There are mountain bike trails below the railway and above the railway, and in a few places the trails cross the railway area. There's an interesting network of trails and they have cool names, and I follow a YouTuber called The Jake Popper, and he does mountain bike videos of this area. I'd like to see where he goes in these areas above and below the railway. It's just good to learn about all the different uses of this corridor area in a recreational way. That's been going on for 23 years and longer. Don't be frightened because you're going into the woods. just keep moving and keep your mouth closed, and so you don't get a mouthful of spider webs. So the slope goes up at a fairly steady pace up there and goes down. We are built up here. Here's the Scorpa bike path. It goes down here. And goes up. And I continue on the railway. The domain of trees and broom and rocks and moss and rails, sometimes hard to see, and the wooden ties slowly returning to the earth as I try to sound poetic. There's something I like about what I call industrial post-mortem photography and videos. This area used to be busy, has a rich industrial history, and now there's just glimpses of what it used to be as it slowly disappears. I love the beauty of this delicate condition that it's in right now. Yeah. I'm on a forest path with rails. It's one of my favorite landmarks. I'll get a better view in a second. Yeah, nice. Let's continue westward, making our way towards milepost 26. So there were a lot of logging railways in this area in the early part of the 20th century when this ENN railway was built. So a lot of them had connections to this railway, like literal connections. Either a spur line connecting to something or a spur line for loading. My Dave Wilkie chart gives me the history of a lot of that, although there's not a lot of visual evidence of those places. It's good to know how busy this railway was in terms of connections to the forestry industry. Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun going through here. I'm gonna get soaked. So camera gets put away and I just go through fast. Yeah, that's what it looks like looking back and looking ahead. Somewhere up here on the right was a connection with a logging company railway, or just a spur where they could load. I think it was Thompson and Clark. Take a look at the subtitle for the correct item once I research it when I get home. But off here on the right somewhere, and I've looked through here and it's got all the look of a built-up area through there where there could have been a spur track. Yeah, right through there. I've never found any rails or ties, but it has the look, and Mr. Wilkie's notes suggest that there used to be something there. This is the time in my hike where I realize I'm pretty much soaked from the waist down from walking through this foliage, especially things like this. the ones that I can't help but brush up against, and they're loaded with water. Yeah, that's okay. You know, and I got through those tree branches, and now I got a broom. I'm going to keep going because I'm close to milepost 26, my goal. I'd like to reach the goal. This reminds me of why I normally do these hikes just once a year. It's because of areas like this where I get soaked, and hey, if I came in the summertime, I'd be covered with ticks. So it doesn't matter the season, although I prefer to get soaked. By the time next year comes around, maybe I've forgotten some of this. And so I foolishly do it again. I'm just kidding. I'm happy to do this again, but it is tough. And I am uncomfortable right now. Fairly soaked, and I'm not even at my turnaround. All for the love of railway history and just maybe being the only person who knows the railway stuff who's coming out here this year to this area and seeing it. Yeah, it's kind of the part of the ENN railway that time has forgotten. Well, you know what I mean. Go through this. It's a good time to also mention that this area here, I'm just before milepost 26, is isolated to the railway itself, meaning the railway people, the contractors, the maintenance of way. It's isolated. They can't get to this because from the east end, the mile 25 trestle can't be crossed because it's on rotted mud sills down below with rotted ties up above. And just before that trestle is that area where the landslide undermines the track almost. So you're not going to get maintenance of way vehicles through there. And from the west end, you can't do it either. The mile 29.9 curved timber trestle is another roadblock because of its condition. It's in very poor shape. So the area between mile 24.8 and we'll say 29.9 is isolated. The same problem happened above Cameron Lake. The railway isolated, and so all the maintenance things couldn't be done, and all the obstacles built up, other than the ones that regular people were able to clear. And then when the fire happened at Wesley Ridge, the railway was not an available corridor for moving fire equipment. And the same things happened here. And here I am at milepost 26. And my turnaround. I'm happy to be here. Sometimes I get here from the other end, but I haven't for a few years, and it's maybe every few years I do it. I get as far as about a mile further west from here at the power lines. That's usually where I turn around at the other end. I'll just go a little further and show you. It's an area here where a few different mountain bike trails come up and cross the railway. It's a nice clear spot for me to change my camera batteries and make sure my electronics are dry. Yeah, mountain bike trail through there and through there. Here about mile 26.1. Okay, one more look westward at where I'm not going any further. And hey, I might come back from the other side sometime later this fall, winter, spring season. There's a bike path through there. Bike path is probably an understatement. I think it's an ATV road. And let's go through here. Carefully, I just dried out the outside of my camera and cleaned the lens. I am soaked from the waist down from walking through and past all this foliage overgrowth that's laden with rainwater and dew water. Here's milepost 26. Yeah, I saw 4 mileposts today.